When I humbly contemplate matters, I realize that the inconceivable universal vow is the great ship that carries us across the sea of samsara which is difficult to cross, and that the unhindered light is the sun of wisdom which breaks the darkness of ignorance. When the opportunity to reveal the Pure Land way became ripe, Devadatta incited Ajatashatru to commit grave offenses. When a person to be saved by the Pure Land practice appeared, Shakyamuni led Vaidehi to choose her birth in the land of peace and provision. All this shows that human incarnations of sages equally sought to deliver multitudes from suffering, and that the world hero, out of pity, especially wished to save those who commit the 5 gravest offenses, abusers of the Dharma and those without any potential for goodness. Hence, I know clearly that the auspicious name of the all-complete, supreme virtue is the embodiment of the perfect wisdom which can turn evil into merit, and also that the joyful faith, indestructible like a diamond but difficult to accept in our hearts, is the truth which removes our doubts and awakens us to enlightenment. This is indeed the true teaching which is easy to practice even for ordinary, inferior people, and is the shortest way that is easy to follow for dull and stupid people. Nothing surpasses this ocean-like virtue of all the life teachings of the great sage. Those who wish to leave this defiled world of samsara and aspire for the Pure Land, those who are confused about religious practices and faiths, those who are dark in mind and lacking in wisdom, and those who are burdened with heavy evil karma and many hindrances, should, by all means, esteem the Tathagata Shakyamuni's exhortation and follow the supreme direct path to enlightenment. They should exclusively hold fast to this practice and only uphold faith. Oh, how difficult it is to encounter the strong influence of the universal vow, even in many cycles of birth and death. How difficult it is to attain the true pure faith, even in millions of kalpas. If you are fortunate enough to attain practice and faith, you should rejoice in your close relationship with Amida from the distant past. If your mind is still covered with a net of doubt, you will continue to wander about in samsara for myriads of kalpas. How trustworthy are the words of truth which say that we are embraced in Amida's light and never forsaken. How extraordinary and wonderful is the right Dharma. Hear and reflect, be careful not to hesitate too long. What a joy it is that I, Gotoku Shinran, a disciple of Shakyamuni, have had a rare chance to meet with the Pure Land scriptures from India and the commentaries by Chinese and Japanese masters, which are difficult to meet, and have been able to hear their teachings which we can only rarely hear. Having respectfully accepted the teaching, practice and enlightenment of the true Pure Land way in faith, I deeply acknowledge the Tathagata Amida's benevolence. Here I rejoice over what I have heard and marvel at what I have received. Chapter 1, a collection of passages revealing the true teaching of the Pure Land way. Compiled by Gotoku Shinran, disciple of Shakyamuni. When I humbly contemplate the true essence of the Pure Land way, I realize that Amida's merit transference has 2 aspects. One is the aspect of going forth and the other, that of returning. Concerning the aspect of going forth of the merit transference, there are true teaching, practice, faith and enlightenment. If I am to reveal the true teaching, it is the larger sutra on the Buddha of infinite life. The outline of this sutra is, Amida brought forth the vow, by which he widely opened the Dharma store. Out of compassion for the ordinary, inferior people, he chose from amongst the Dharma treasures the jewel of merit and freely endowed it to them. Shakyamuni appeared in the world and expounded various teachings of the way, but he wished to save multitudes of beings by endowing them with true benefits. Therefore, to expound the primal vow of Amida Tathagata is the central theme of the larger sutra, and his name is its essence. How do we know that Shakyamuni's primary objective in appearing in this world was to expound this sutra? It is stated in the larger sutra, fascicle 1, Ananda said.
World-honored one, today all your senses are radiant with joy, your body is serene and glorious, and your noble countenance is as majestic as a clear mirror whose brightness radiates outward and inward. The magnificence of your dignified appearance is unsurpassed and beyond measure. I have never seen you look so superb and majestic as you do today. With respect, great sage, this thought has occurred to me. Today, the world-honored one dwells in the rare and marvelous Dharma. Today, the world hero dwells in the Buddha's abode. Today, the world I concentrates on the performance of the leader's duty. Today, the world valiant one dwells in the supreme enlightenment. Today, the one most honored in heaven realizes the Tathagata's virtue. The Buddhas of the past, present and future contemplate each other. How can this present Buddha not contemplate the other Buddhas? For what reason does his countenance look so majestic and brilliant?
Then the world-honored one said to Ananda,
Tell me, Ananda, whether some gods urged you to put this question to the Buddha or whether you asked about his glorious countenance from your own wise observation?
No gods came to prompt me. I asked you about this matter of my own accord.
The Buddha said.
Well said, Ananda. I am very pleased with your question. You have shown profound wisdom and subtle insight in asking me this wise question out of compassion for sentient beings. As the Tathagata, I regard beings of the three worlds with boundless great compassion. The reason for my appearance in the world is to expound various teachings of the way and save multitudes of beings by endowing them with true benefits. Even in countless millions of kalpas, it is difficult to come upon and meet a Tathagata. It is as difficult as seeing a new Udambara flower, which rarely blooms. Your question is of great benefit and will enlighten all heavenly and human beings. Ananda, you should realize that the Tathagata's perfectly enlightened wisdom is unfathomable, capable of leading innumerable beings to emancipation, and that his insight cannot be obstructed, nothing can hinder it.
It is stated in the teaching assembly of the Tathagata of Infinite Life, Fascicle 1, Ananda said to the Buddha.
World-honored one, having seen the Tathagata's countenance radiating rare, majestic glory, I have entertained this thought. No gods came to prompt me.
The Buddha said to Ananda.
Well said, well said. Your question has pleased me. With careful observation of the Tathagata's subtle insight, you have asked me this question. All Tathagatas, Arhats, and perfectly enlightened ones, dwelling in the great compassion, benefit multitudes of beings. To realize their wishes, this great being has appeared in the world like an Udambara flower that rarely blooms. In order to help their work, you have asked me this question. Also, having pity on all sentient beings and being moved to give them spiritual benefit, you have asked me, the Tathagata, this good question.
It is stated in the Sutra on the Equal Enlightenment, Fascicle 1, the Buddha said to Ananda.
We know of an Udambara tree, it bears fruit but no flowers. A Buddha appears in the world as rarely as this tree blossoms. Even if a Buddha dwells in the world, it is extremely difficult to encounter him. I have become a Buddha, and here I am. Being a revered monk, wise and virtuous, you know the Buddha's intention beforehand. You never forget to stay close to me and serve me. I will answer your question. Listen well and attentively.
Master Kyōgyōshinshō explains in the commentary on the larger sutra.
Firstly, the line, today, the world-honored one dwells in the rare and marvelous Dharma, describes the appearance which the Buddha manifests by his transcendent power. It is not only unusual but also unequaled. Secondly, the line, today, the world hero dwells in the Buddha's abode, shows that he dwells in the samadhi of universal equality and subdues the king of Maras, the powerful gods. Thirdly, the line, today, the world eye concentrates on the performance of the leader's duty, shows that he is first and foremost in guiding sentient beings, his 5 eyes are called the leader's duty. Fourthly, the line, today, the world valiant one dwells in the supreme enlightenment, shows that he dwells in the 4 wisdoms, with which he attains the highest and peerless state. Fifthly, the line, today, the one most honored in heaven realizes the Tathagata's virtue, describes the Buddha as the Lord of the ultimate reality, for he embodies Buddha nature, which is not void. The last lines, Ananda, you should realize that the Tathagata's perfectly enlightened wisdom describes the rare and marvelous Dharma. The line, his insight cannot be obstructed, describes the supreme enlightenment, and the line, nothing can hinder it, describes the Tathagata's virtue.
The above quotations afford clear testimony of the fact that the larger sutra is the true teaching. It is indeed the correct exposition of the Dharma for which the Tathagata appeared in the world. It is the wonderful scripture, rare and supreme, the ultimate doctrine of the one vehicle teaching, the golden words which make possible quick attainment of perfect and all-merging truth, the sincere words praised by all the Buddhas in the 10 quarters, the teaching of truth befitting the time and the capacities of people. Let us be clear about this. End of Chapter 1, a collection of passages revealing the true teaching of the Pure Land Way.